Hi, this is Frank Shamrock, MMA legend, UFC superstar, and you're listening to MMA Crib Fighting Talk.
Gregory Stone, MMACrib.com. On today's show, I'll be speaking with Houston Alexander. Houston is set to move up in weight to face James the Colossus Thompson at Bellator 129. With that, welcome to the show, Houston.
Hey, I appreciate you having me.
It's my pleasure, Houston. Now, Houston, I want to start with something I spotted about 4 to 5 weeks back. I was searching the Bellator website and I was looking through the rosters. Obviously, I came across the Bellator Light Heavyweight roster, and you was not advertised as being part of their roster. Obviously, I just presumed that you was no longer employed by Bellator, and then we had this fight with you and James Thompson just announced recently. So I was a little bit confused as to whether you was employed by Bellator or not. Could you tell us if your contract did end at some point with Bellator, please, Houston?
No, I don't believe it ended with Bellator. You know, they were pleased with my last performance, so you know they decided to bring me back, and especially being in the area, in my particular area, they wanted me on the card. So we made it happen, and hopefully, you know, we'll be fighting more with Bellator.
Was you even aware that you was removed from the Bellator roster, Houston?
You know what? I'm not for sure. You know, I don't pay attention to stuff like that for some reason. But you know, all I pay attention to is getting in the gym, training, and being ready for the next bout.
Well, let's talk about James Thompson. He is your next bout, of course. Now, for many fans, Houston, when you hear the name James Thompson, you start picturing this big grizzly monster guy in the corner, pumping his chest, you know, shaking, staring at his opponent, then comes charging out and throws a barrage of punches, and basically he gets knocked out or his opponent gets knocked out. But obviously I'm alluding to the fights he had with Don Fry and Alexander Emelianenko. But if you've been following James Thompson recently, especially his past 5 fights, he's more conservative in his approach now. He's a lot more patient. He focuses mainly on his wrestling now. He's not so aggressive. He's aggressive in spurts. You know, he definitely holds back on being so aggressive all the way through the fight. Certainly conservative on his cardio. Now, have you been watching many of James Thompson's previous fights, and what did you make of him, Houston?
Well, you know what? And here's the thing about James. James is a lot more athletic, and he's for a big guy. He fights like a small guy, and those are the type of guys you have to watch out for. He has, and once you with MMA, once you get more into MMA and your opponents start getting better, you start changing up your style just a little bit to accommodate a lot of these the fighters that are out there, because you can't go out there and go balls to the wall all the time. So you got to kind of feel the guy out to see where he's coming, and then you got to learn how to use your best at a particular time when it's needed. So I think that he's learning how to use the best when it's needed.
Well, I've followed James Thompson for a long time now, and even after Pride, obviously fighting in Pride, you obviously think automatically that's an experienced fighter. Same with yourself, Houston. You jumped into the UFC rather early, and everyone thinks, oh, Houston, he's so experienced. It's not always the case, you know. You and James Thompson, you jumped into the big leagues quite early on in your career. Now, after following James, he's always been quite humble. After his Pride days, he was fighting in Sengoku, etc. And he mentioned that he's still learning in this game. You know, he's still a new guy, a fresh face in the sport of MMA, and it's a lot of the fans don't seem to realise. They seem to think, oh, you fought in a big promotion, so automatically you got this experience. It's not always the case, is it, Houston? Would you find that you're still learning too in the game of MMA?
You know what? I would agree with James. You know, we're constantly learning. No matter how many fights you've had, whatever promotion you've been with, you are constantly learning. So you know, if you have that frame of mind, you know, you're gonna get better, no matter how old you are and how experienced you are. If you have that frame of mind that you can get better by learning, you're still learning. Everyone's still learning. I don't care who you are. You can be Anderson Silva. You can be anyone. You're always learning different parts of the MMA.
Well, I want to talk about James' chin for a second. Obviously, a lot of fans will remember James getting knocked out a lot, especially in his cage rage days. But for me, personally, I sort of feel like I don't read too much into that, to be honest with you, Houston, because if you look at the guys who've been knocked out by, Butterbean, Neil Grove, Brett Rogers, these guys are heavy hitters and, garner a lot of respect from their punching power in their own right. Now, I want to ask you this personally, Houston.
Yeah.
Now, you got a lot of punching power yourself. You knocked out many opponents. Now, do you sort of feel confident that if you can catch James with one or two good shots, that you could possibly put him to sleep?
You know what? I don't feel comfortable about anything. I'm going to tell you, anything can happen in MMA, and it's shown throughout the years and with different types of fights. So, I worry about this, I worry about that, but I mainly concentrate on the guy worrying about me. Man, I don't care what he's doing. I don't care, what kind of game plan he has. My whole overall deal is for him to go worry about me. So, but do I worry about touching James? No. I worry about what I'm going to do in the bout. But because, previous fights don't count. When you're in the fight with any individual, I don't care what fight this guy had before or what fights I've had before. We're in that ring now. And, and that's what counts.
But I want to allude to the fact of your confidence, Houston. Obviously, you look at your fights with Keith Jardine, Soccerdew, etc. You was losing against Soccerdew and you came back, TKO'd him. Now, you can always rely on your power. You can feel confident. Look, if this fight ain't going my way, then I've got my punching power. Do you sort of feel like with James being so much bigger that you can actually knock him out? Do you feel confident that you've got the ability to knock him out?
You know what? That I have the ability to knock him out, or he has the ability to knock me out.
Well, let's talk about the weight discrepancy for a second, Houston. Obviously, you've been up in weight before against Gilbert Yvel and Kimbo, but this is a lot different. Obviously, James has got like about a good 40 pounds on you, I'd say. Do you feel like you would sort of have no choice but to put on about a good 8 to 10 pounds of muscle in preparation for your bout with James?
Well, let me tell you something. Over the past maybe 10, 11, 12 years, I've fought guys at all weights, and especially at heavyweight. So I don't think, me getting into the ring with a bigger guy has been nothing to me. We still would. If I do what I'm supposed to do, it doesn't matter, what the guy weighs at all anyway. So you can get knocked out by a featherweight if you do the wrong technique. So it doesn't matter. But I have a lot of experience with fighting with bigger guys anyway. So I'm not worried too much about the height or the weight.
Well, I want to talk about James's wrestling, and well, he's been using it a lot recently. But what he has been doing, he's been wrestling guys down to the mat and transitioning straight to side control. Now, the go-to move for James Thompson recently seems to be the crucifix. Now, obviously, this is where weight advantage will come into play, because once a big guy like James gets you in the crucifix, it's going to be quite tough to get out of it. Now, have you noticed this? And is stopping James from getting side control on you, is that a sort of a must for you? Make sure, I don't care whether you're getting back into your half guard, into your guard, whether you scramble back to your feet. Is it just important to make sure James doesn't get you in side control?
Well, that is the main goal for any fighter, to not get you any type of side control or anything like that. You have to constantly keep moving, and I think that's where I would have the advantage, because I'm going to constantly keep moving, and I'm not going to just sit there and let you put me in a crucifix. I'm not going to sit there and let you mount me. It's going to be a scramble every single time he touches me. So either he's going to get touched, or I'm going to do some wrestling of myself. So like I said, it doesn't matter how big the guy is. I'm going to wrestle too. I'm going to grapple too, and I'm going to do jiu-jitsu too. So it doesn't matter.
Just how well versed are you in the crucifix position? Is it something you're going to have to work on? Are you going to not even work on it altogether? Are you well versed in it? Just how well versed are you in escaping the crucifix?
I have some of the best coaches that I'm working with right now. The whole thing is not to get in the crucifix in the first place. So you're not worried. Yeah, don't worry about it. Don't worry about the crucifix if you're not in it in the first place. There you go.
That's a good plan, Houston. Well, you said that weight doesn't matter. What are you weighing right now, Houston? And ideally, what would you like to weigh come fight night?
I'm probably right now. I'm probably closer to 215. So if I'm weighing 215 and I got a lot of punching power at 205. Just imagine me punching at 220.
So basically, you're just gonna walk in your natural weight that you fight at light heavyweight, but basically just not cut any weight.
Yeah, not cutting weight at all. Just walk in a natural weight, and I think to me that's an advantage when you don't have to cut weight. A lot of those guys lose a lot of advantage when they try to cut weight, and basically just like in the Kimbo case, those guys come in at 240, 250 the next day after breaking down to 205 anyway. So let's be realistic. Those guys are already big the next day after coming down from 205.
Well, let's be honest here, Houston. It's a strange sort of fight. It's a fun fight, but it's a strange sort of fight. Not something the fans would have expected. Now, is this a matchmaker's fight? Is this something James Thompson called for? Is this something you called for? Who actually got the ball rolling in putting this fight together, Houston?
You know what? I think Bellator wanted to have us both on television. They both wanted to see this match. He's very experienced. I'm very experienced. And so I think they actually wanted to see this. So with me, it doesn't matter who's in front of me, and I'm sure with him also. But it just happened to be both of us. So I think it was just chance.
Is this something that's going to be in your future heavyweight, or can we expect to see back down at light heavyweight? Or are you going to possibly just see what the matchmakers throw your way? Would you jump up to heavyweight if need be? Would you jump back down to light heavyweight? Does it actually not matter right now? You're not set at one division.
You know what? I could jump from heavyweight to light heavy. And I'm comfortable in those positions. I'm not really comfortable in dropping down in weight because again, to me it's unhealthy. I'd rather stay at light heavy and or go heavy. So hopefully within the future, I wouldn't mind fighting heavy again. So it doesn't matter to me.
Well, obviously you talked about you're going to wrestle with him. You're going to be scrambling as soon as he touches you. Obviously you're going to have a speed advantage. Are you relying heavily on your speed advantage over James Thompson come fight night?
Am I relying more on my speed?
Heavily, yeah. Are you relying more on your speed?
Yeah, well, of course, being the smaller guy, because the smaller guy's should have the advantage of speed, but sometimes that's not the case because once a big guy gets a hold of you, their thing is to hold you and they hold you down. So I'm going to rely a lot on my strength too. I'm a lot stronger than what people think.
Well, I talked before about Gilbert Ivel and Kimbo Slice. You're fighting them at heavyweight. There's been a lot of talks of Kimbo coming into Bellator. Obviously, James is a previous opponent of Kimbo Slice's too. Is that a rematch that you'd like, possibly, with Kimbo Slice if he does come in?
I would love a rematch with Kimbo. Because I believe, the fight we had. I believe I won the last fight. If you kick a guy a million times and he only hits you a couple times, I believe that for me. Looking at the fight, that would be a win. But they gave it to Kimbo because he was a popular fighter at the time. And I would love to redo that. That was one I would love to take back.
Wrap up the interview, Houston. Is there anything you'd like to say to your fans? A message you'd like to leave for James Thompson come fight night?
You know what? I like to thank you and all the people overseas, and I would like to thank all the fans who enjoy MMA and who studied MMA over the years. And all my sponsors, and to James, I'll see you in my area, the Nebraska, Iowa area. So he's going to come over here, and I'm going to welcome him with a few fists and kicks.
Well, you mentioned your sponsors. Anyone in particular you'd like to give a shout out to, Houston?
Oh yeah. Of course, Rotella, Tommy's, Nissan, Auto Rescue. There's a lot of great sponsors. Animal Instincts, clothing line. Again, there's a lot of Victory, Premier Combat Center. All my coaches, Bodler, Alexander, Jensen, Padani. There's just a lot of people I'd like to thank, and if I forgot anybody, that I'm sorry. And also yourself. I appreciate you, being interested in interviewing me.
It's my pleasure, Houston. Thank you very much for the time. Okay, from the MMA Crip Fighting Talk Show, thank you for watching.